My bad. All right, stop your noise back there,
Jim Hicks,
Jim. Yeah.
Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up.
I cut it out quick. I know y'all can hear me now. Girl, I'm learning, Jimmy. I got it. But welcome to the Chop Shop, the best 120 minutes of your day. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks and, hold up, Jim Hicks and Chris Walker. Chris, I had a brain freeze right there. But coming to you live from Houston, Texas, broadcasting all over the world right now. And I hope you can hear us now. We had a technical difficulties. I guess, look at they say, yes, sir, Jimmy. But now I want to get to the Carlos Carrera thing I was telling you about. I'm going to start the show out like this because it's unique. He's a Houston Astros All-Star who hit the walk-off home run in Game 2 of the ALCS. When he hit the home run, I don't know if y'all paid attention, he was running and pointing when he hit the home run. Did you see that, Jim? And this was not just a generic celebration. It was intentional. Carlos met this young kid named Jalen Garcia, a teenage fan in Houston who was battling from a rare bone cancer. Okay? Carlos and his fiancee, Danielle Rodriguez, went to the hospital and met with Jalen, and he told him, quote, "The next home run I hit will be for you. When you see me pointing in the stands, I'll be pointing at you." And he commented on Monday saying, "That was for you, Jalen. Keep fighting. We are with you." Let me tell you something, Jimmy. Even if you're not an Astro fan, that had to move and touch you. I was touched by it. I can only imagine, Jimmy, what it meant to Jalen just to pretty much watch that. I think it's awesome. But I got a question for you two guys. The home run ball, Jimmy, usually you have to bother with a fan to get that home run back. Sometimes they demand money. Sometimes they demand autographs and stuff like that. I wonder if the fan that caught that ball gave it back to Carlos so he could give it to Jalen. Because the thing is possibly, it's going to probably cost the Astros or Carlos a little piece of money to get that home run back. Jimmy, if you was a fan in that thing, what would you do? Would you give that ball back to Jalen or Carlos for Jalen, or would you charge him and the Astros? What would you do?
What if I had balls already and I had a collection of home run balls already, then yes, I would give him back. This is not the World Series. This is the American League Championship. But in other situations, you have to do this. Everything has a market value. So I personally, I would go and they have to get with me, and we set up a number that we can barter on, and they can get the ball back. But it just depends.
You gonna charge them?
If I don't have any balls already saved.
Oh my God!
Okay,
Keep going.
hold on. So wait a minute. So it's okay. It's okay for the NBA to pick money in business over human rights stuff or heartfelt issues.
Well, why are we going there? Hold on, we gonna get there. We just
Wow, come on, Jimmy. That ain't got. Oh my God, that ain't free, man. First of all, you know what? So I got a question. No, Jimmy. No, I got something for him, Chris. So you in the baseball business now? Since you parallel that, you in the baseball gathering business. You go to every game trying to get baseball. That's your business. Because you parallel it to the NBA. So I'm just saying, is that your business?
Dude, Once again, I mean, you wasn't listening at first.
I listened to
If I
you.
have balls at home already that I've collected from home runs in the past, I'm throwing it back or I'm giving it back.
Guess
if
what?
I don't, then they're going to give me
No,
market value for it.
No. I listened to you. You didn't listen to me. Are you in the baseball business? That's all I asked you.
Absolutely.
Okay then. Okay. All right. Okay, now get it, Chris.
I am.
Chris, get my lightweight, Chris. Chris, I'm gonna let you have my lightweight, Chris.
If I go to a game,
I want the Boomer Room to talk some sense into him.
No, there are many people that when they go and buy tickets to baseball games, whether you know it or not, you have that buy tickets, not the season ticket holders. People that buy tickets, they have an option to where they want to buy those tickets and sit at. There are some people that when they go to games, they are going and sitting at certain places in the outfield or along the third base or the first base lines in hopes of catching a foul ball as a souvenir. That's what some people do. Some people's batters have a more value. That's like, for example, when Barry Bonds was playing and him and Sosa and Mark McGwire were back in the steroid issue when they were chasing the home run title. Guess what? Those balls people thought were worth something. So that means, you think about it, that means the outfield seats was costing more or as much as a seat behind the plate.
What does that have, Daryl? I mean Jimmy Maury. Jimmy Hicks. What that has to do with what we talking about?
You just asked me if I was in the baseball business. I just explained to you what baseball business means. There's a term for that. Yes. So
I said, are you? No, I said, are you?
I am. I explained that to you already. What, you're not getting it?
Yes, I get it. But you come talking about people sitting in certain seats, to get. No, I ain't talking about you. So when you go to the game. So when me and you went to the game, we went to a certain seat so you could catch a ball. I didn't.
No,
I'm just letting you know. I didn't.
No,
okay.
No. In that issue, I went to the game together. That means I took a sacrifice. That means sometimes I go in some of this. Put it like this. When I went to TSU's home game the other day, I didn't go as media. So I didn't go and sit up there and sit in the makeshift press box they had built at Hanfield. I did not go there. I went down there and sitting there and put in the end zone.
You were smart. That's why you did that. You didn't
no. I'm just saying, certain things, certain events you go to, I put different hats on. I didn't go as working media. I went as a fan.
Okay, Chris. Excuse me, Jimmy. Chris, can I get your comment? Great comment, Jimmy. I just want to hear yours.
I'm appalled at the fact that the dude that I grew up on the same street in South Hall, who I've watched strike out about 1,000 times for the Braves, and the fact that
all them strikeouts got me a free college education. Remember that? So,
he been ready to tell me that.
Listen, that means I'm the history of the United States of America that struck out every time he batted from Little League all the way through high school and got a D1 scholarship.
Hey,
so you got to that want to.
As Don King would say, only in America. Only in America.
So y'all believe if you want to. Hannah, as many people you saw that around that place, if I was that guy that he wanted me to be, trust me, they would be shaking my hand a whole different way around TSU when you walked around at homecoming with me the other day.
You weren't referenced around there. They asked me, was you my security? What is you talking about?
Wow.
Hey, no, but you know what though? What I did realize is a lot of people from Kashmir went to TSU. And that's what I realized. There's a lot of people from Kashmir went to US. Hey, it's all good.
My mom went to Kashmir. I love being on them too.
And guess what? They didn't. And guess what? They didn't cheat and go to Milby. So I think that was admirable of them people, Jim. I think so. Well, what else we got, man? I thought, but Jimmy.
I'm
Jimmy,
upset with you, man.
A cancer patient, Jimmy. A cancer patient.
Don't talk to Jimmy, man. Don't talk. Jimmy is being insensitive right now. And if Sandra was listening to the show right now, you know what Sandra say.
Smack boogers at his nose.
And listen, and I got a problem with Sandra and that cowboy talk the other night, Jimmy. I didn't appreciate that. And I'm going to let her know about that when I get a chance to watch the way she tried to handle me. But Heather,
Yes,
Listen,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir.
I know what everybody's about to say right now, but
Okay.
here's the deal. Because you know I'm a brun sexual. I'm a LeBron sexual. The fact that they're going at my dude's head like that is unbelievable. I mean, I'm sitting here, I can't believe it. Did they read what he said? He never said Daryl Morey was uneducated. He said he was not educated on that particular subject, which Daryl Morey admitted that he was not, and didn't show the sensitivity that it needed. Derek Johnson, Anthony Weston, he admitted, did he not, Hatter? What did James Harden say? And hide your hands. I don't want nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. That fire got too hot, Jimmy. That fire got too hot. He didn't want to deal with it. LeBron, as the face of the league, says, how about this? Hey, man, you can say whatever you want. You had to say it while we were in China. Why you didn't say it while you were in China? Why you had to say it while we were in China? I like to hear y'all takes on it because I already know what the Boom Boom Room going to say. They going to China your boss. I don't even want to hear what the Boom Boom Room say. I want to know what Jimmy going to say. So Jimmy said, free China.
Well, the thing with LeBron, his situation was, I mean, remember his first statement or during his tweets, I'm sorry, he said one of his purposes was to clear up the confusion.
Should I play that tape, Jimmy?
And I think for a lot of you guys that have not become abreast of what happened over the past 24 hours, we're going to play the tape for you first of all, so that you can hear with your own ears and see it with your own eyes. And that way now you can form your own judgments as to what you get out of this. So we can cue this up right now. This is LeBron James yesterday, right before the Lakers played the Golden State Warriors in an exhibition game.
Protesters. Here's LeBron's reaction yesterday.
When we all sit back and learn from the situation that happened, understand that what you could tweet or could say, and we all talk about this freedom of speech. Yes, we all do have freedom of speech, but at times there are ramifications for the negative that can happen when you're not thinking about others and you only think about yourself. So I don't believe I don't want to get into a word or sentence feud with Daryl. Morey, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand, and he spoke. And so many people could have been harmed, not only financially but physically, emotionally, spiritually. So just be careful what we tweet and we say and what we do. Even though yes, we do have freedom of speech, but there can be a lot of negative that comes with that too.
Okay, Jimmy.
So that's LeBron James, and as a result of that statement, guys, there's been an avalanche of comments and opinions and criticism from various angles directed at LeBron James. And understand something. LeBron, as he mentioned, he's been to China, as he stated, went on to state in there 15 to 20 times. Nike, he's the ambassador, the global ambassador as far as product for Nike in the sports apparel business. They have factories and offices in China. So it's easy to understand why LeBron James would definitely not take the side of anything that would be afflict any type of agony or negative attention towards China. So it's easy to understand that. And at the same time, he was.
And they're deflecting, Jimmy. And they're deflecting. But keep going though.
And you say dare? You mean who is they?
The 45 lovers. They're deflecting. That's what they're doing.
Well, I mean, this is understand. I think this part right here, I really believe is a this is deeper than American politics. Because first of all, who do you think, if you had to bet your right pocket, who do you think that Daryl Morey voted for in the election?
Oh, wow. Ooh.
I'm just saying. So understand it.
Well, who you
so if you had to bet your right pocket, who do you think LeBron James didn't vote for in the election? So nobody. But my point is this situation is LeBron and the team met with Adam Silver a couple of days prior to this statement. And it leaked out that the players were really pissed off because of the fact that they felt that they were being thrust into the middle of this administrative fiasco. Meaning, if a player had put that tweet out, they would be out of a job. And somebody, it even was reported that one of the leaks planted a seed that one of the players asked Adam Silver, hey, is Daryl Morey going to lose his job? Because if we'd have did it, we'd have lost our jobs. And it went that far as discuss. So I guess I really believe the sincereness based on LeBron's history, he was trying to put water on the fire. You ever had a fire on the stove and you threw whatever you can get your hands on, you threw it on there, but then in some fires, whatever you put on there to extinguish it, it doesn't do the job. It does the adverse effect. And that's what happened last night. And I feel for LeBron. I really do.
Why you feel for him? Why you feel for him? Because he came right back, Jimmy, and I don't know if you're familiar with it. He came right back with some tweets afterwards. Did you remember his tweets he said afterwards? And I'm going to put them on the screen so people can see them. He said, let me be clear about the confusion.
Let me clear up the confusion. That's what I said earlier.
I do not believe there was any consideration for the consequences and the ramifications of the tweet. I'm not discussing the substance. Others can talk about that. So then he went on to his second tweet, Jimmy, and said, my team and this league just went through a difficult week. I think people need to understand that a tweet or a statement what a tweet and a statement can do to others. And I believe nobody stopped and considered what would happen. Could have waited a week to send it. That was key to me. Could have waited a week to send it.
Why is that, Hatter?
Because the reason I said that, because I don't know if people are familiar. When you're in a communist country, communist rule, the government rule, we had not only LeBron and the Nets were there also. Not only LeBron and the Lakers, the Nets was there also. But Chris, so it's and the NBA offices, they like moved part of their crew over there. So they were in the middle of a communist country, and Jimmy was so quickly saying, well, they can just fly out anytime they want to. Hell no, Jimmy, they couldn't. I know they got money, they millionaires. No. So what the guy was saying, if you had waited a week for us to get out of there, so we wouldn't have to take the backlash. We wouldn't have to take all the heat that was going. See, we will never know exactly what went on in China until somebody over here come and tell us now. Because guess what? China put a blackout on what could come out of there. They wouldn't let them interview. They control their media. The government controls their airways over there. So it's a lot of stuff we just don't know. And all he was saying, I understand the tweet, Daryl, but could have waited a week early while we was out of there. So Chris, what you think?
I completely agree. And my thing, I'll say it again, is that everything's about context, timing, and everything. Time and score, man. Time and score. And so at the end of the day, and we commented on this, and I know as soon as I say this, everybody in the Boom Boom Room is going to lose their mind, right? Amber Geyer, did Morey tweet about that? What's the other kid we talked about, Hatter? Did he tweet about that? Did he tweet about Michael? Like what? Like you don't tweet about all the other stuff that happens right here domestically, but you want to tweet about what's going on over there and something that you admitted that you knew nothing about. That you admitted that you weren't educated enough on the subject to make the comment that you made. But there's tons of stuff that you're probably more educated on that happens over here, dare I say, in the city of Houston and the state of Texas, right? That you don't comment on. So I know people will be like, "Oh, why is he going there?"
No,
I'm just saying.
It's great, Chris. I mean, he didn't tweet on the Botham and the Amber Geiger situation. He didn't tweet on that now.
He didn't tweet on that, but you want to tweet on what's going on over there. Because you know what? You got caught up in the moment. Just say that. But how about get caught up in the Michael Brown moment? How about get caught up in the Amber Geiger? How about get caught up in those moments? Ain't nothing wrong with that, right, Jimmy? You can get caught up in those moments too. Or Sandra Brown, get caught up in those, Sandra Bland, get caught up in those moments. Well, I get caught up in those moments.
Okay, well, think of it like this. LeBron didn't tweet about those two issues either.
How do you know? I disagree with that. I bet you LeBron did tweet.
I say LeBron did not tweet. I didn't say he didn't say nothing. We don't know what he said, but he didn't tweet.
But guess what, Jimmy? But LeBron has been a supporter of social justice and police brutality. That's his ongoing thing. So him tweeting about it, he guess what? No. He lives it. He don't have to tweet it. He lives it because he's a black man that can happen to. So he lives it, Jimmy.
Remember last week, and I made the comment like twice last week. And I said about a lot of times people will be fighting for causes. And at some point in time, it's human nature. It's even in boxing. Some boxers will take what they call take a round off. I mean, they'll sit back and play defense and won't swing as many punches. And you're fighting for a cause, and it feels like you're not able to land a good solid punch in that cause. It would make anybody feel like, you know what, I'm not going to even swing at this one right here because it just, I'm just tired. That's what. So once again. Yes, LeBron has fought and stood up for a lot of issues in the past, publicly, even with the shirts and everything after Ferguson on upward. But at the same time, I'm thinking for Daryl Morey to even and only, I mean, we're just speculating to the wildest, to the depths of outfield. For him to send that tweet out, obviously. And even LeBron said he understands that, obviously he probably didn't think it all the way through about the ramifications. Well, at the same time, LeBron didn't think of the ramifications of this tweet this statement.
Or he didn't care.
Or you don't care. But guess what? We know LeBron cares.
I got a question, Jimmy. Jimmy, tell me what LeBron said, because it seemed like it bothered you. Because it didn't bother me. It seemed like it bothered you. But let me show you another statement by Daryl Morey, and then you can explain why it bothered you so much, because it seemed like it did. But Morey said, I was merely voicing one thought based on one interpretation, this is Morey's words, and of one complicated event. I have had a lot of opportunities since that tweet to hear and consider other perspectives. This came out of Daryl Morey's mouth. So LeBron is right, because Daryl Morey just said it exactly what LeBron said, just because he didn't say it the way Jimmy wanted him to say it. So tell me your problem with LeBron.
Put the first tweet up that LeBron put up on the Twitter, and I'll show you that way you can see the verbiage of what he said.
Okay.
Think about it. Sometimes when you're saying
I just put it up there.
The first tweet that you put up, and where he has.
Let me be clear. Okay. He said, let me be clear. He said, let me clear up the confusion. I do not believe there was any consideration for the consequences and the ramifications of the tweet.
Payan, stop right there.
Okay.
So that's obvious. That's the part I'm just saying. Damn, that goes two ways, twofold. You don't believe there was any consideration? Whatever was there serious consideration for the consequences and the ramification of the tweet that you just put out? That can be taken as, and a lot of people are taking that as hypocritical.
Why?
Well, no, forget other people. Tell me how you feel that's hypocritical. He just said, let me clear up the confusion. I do not believe.
Because you're saying, because you're just saying that the consequences and ramifications of somebody else's tweet, they didn't consider them. But then what I'm saying is, did you consider the consequences and ramifications of the tweet that you just put out?
Hold up. So let me get this right, Jimmy. So all he did was basically.
A lot of people were upset of the fact. Understand, when the words, remember, for LeBron to come back on Twitter after you gave an interview, that means you came back on Twitter. What's that noise? You came back on clarify. Not to apologize, you came back to clarify. For you to feel the need to clarify something, that means you understand that people may have misinterpreted what you said. So, he said that Daryl Morey wasn't educated. Right? Now, and
on
what?
The subject.
On the subject.
On the subject.
So people, so therefore that was an attack, or that was an accusation towards of Daryl Morey and his intellect on the Hong Kong situation.
For which he admitted that he did not have any.
And Daryl Morey admitted, Jimmy. That's why I read it to you. Daryl Morey admitted it.
I understand that. I'm telling you what I just said is what people got pissed off. Okay, let me just take the gloves off. Do y'all realize there's certain white folks don't give a shit about what black folks say? They don't like you, and they just looking for something. They're gonna look for something that you say.
We know that, man. We know that.
That's why, Jimmy. That's
do you not understand that?
But Jimmy, that's why LeBron. That's why the tweet was sent, because LeBron is very political. So if you didn't understand him this way, he's gonna clarify it the other way.
So now you just said the aha. LeBron is very what? Political.
Yeah, because of what you just said.
So based on his vested interest in the country of China, right? In China, then people are claiming that against this, or claiming that you're choosing your money, which that's your thing. But you got in the middle of the street and you're choosing your money over this situation, dealing with the human welfare issue.
Jimmy, hold up, Jimmy. Now you're going a whole nother direction. Come on, man. You're going a whole nother direction.
I'm going a whole nother direction.
The human welfare issue. Please, we can talk about 1 billion companies that are doing work over there.
Jimmy, that iPhone and them Nikes you wearing are made in China. That computer you talking to on and listening to right now is made in China. So guess what? So guess what? I want you to listen to these words. I'm gonna give them to you plain. It's all right for us to have shared interests, but not shared value.
Not shared values. I heard that statement earlier today.
It's all right, but it's okay for us to have. Of course LeBron got interest. LeBron got a movie about to come out, Space Jam. And China got 1 billion people over there. I understand that. But I don't see how you feel he's hypocritical. You seem like you with them. You seem like you got a 45 on the back of that shirt.
Put like this. So you saying, first of all, so both of you guys, you okay with what's going on in Hong Kong? You're okay with that? So understand, first of all, you're okay.
I wasn't okay with what was going on in the 50s here in this country.
No, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about right now. We're talking about Hong Kong. We're not talking about here. We're not talking about here.
Tell me what's going on in Hong Kong. Hold on.
International politics.
No. Jimmy Morehead. You gonna ask that question to us? If you want to ask us that question, you got to explain why you. So evidently, this cause is great to you. Evidently. This cause in Hong Kong is greater than you. Listen, you speak it out more about this than you spoke out on the Kaepernick situation.
No. First of all, I can give 2 shits what's going on. I can give 2 shits what's going on in Hong Kong or China. I said it last week. I don't give a shit.
You said China. Now you're including Hong Kong. Okay.
Me, I don't care what's going on in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Shanghai. Okay. None of them. I don't.
Okay.
So that's my stance. I don't.
Wow.
So now, but I'll ask you guys the question, and you have an answer. I say, do you guys think it's right what's going on in Hong Kong? That's what I'm saying.
What about what's happening in Hong Kong and people there? I don't think it's right what goes on in Africa. I don't think it's right what goes.
Chris,
Well,
that ain't what I'm asking.
my point is, I'm a humanitarian.
But that ain't what I'm asking. I asked you about Hong Kong.
Hold up, Jimmy. You're in the media and I'm in the media. That's a trick question. That's a trap question. All I'm telling you is let's keep it on LeBron. Does LeBron have a right to censure Daryl Morey just like everybody else has done, just like we've done on this show? Do I agree with human rights violations? Absolutely not. I also don't agree with sex trafficking. I also don't agree with white cops killing black people. I don't agree with none of that. So no, Jimmy, I don't agree with it. But we have shared interests, just like we have shared interests with oil in Iraq before we went over there and destroyed that place. We got shared. All I tell people to do is read your history book before you start running your mouth. That's all I'm saying.
And Jimmy, do me a favor, since you're so eloquent to talk about they said it on this morning. Go back and our archives last week. I said it last week. So how about that? So now what else you said, Chris? How about that? I said that same quote last week. The same exact quote last week. So no, I'm just helping you out.
I'm talking about the context of what you just said. If the bullet points that you had said before and after that quote were all I got all of that. And that's what I'm saying. So it wasn't. So that's wasn't.
Okay. I thought you was talking about the comment they talked about this morning. I said those things, but maybe it sounds better coming from them. But I said those things last week. That's all. That's all I'm trying to. I'm just trying to let everybody know. Keep going. Go, Chris.
No, and so that's the situation. What I do now is go to the boom boom room and share some of your thoughts that you guys are saying and seeing how you guys feel in this situation. Torrance Hicks says LeBron absolutely told Morey to shut up. Also, don't be messing with my money. China loves me, and that's a way to interpret it. Did you guys not interpret it that way, or did you guys interpret that differently? And looking back up. B. Scott says, can we talk about the fact that Silver was going to let the players speak? And LeBron says, no, they shouldn't have to speak. That is hypocritical. He doesn't know if those other players have an opinion and said they should shut up and dribble if your name ain't LeBron. Now, this is from B. Scott. And I'm reading some of the comments in the Boom Boom Room that you guys are sharing right now. Tyrone says, even if the NBA, LeBron and Daryl Morey wasn't going to lose money, this would not be a conversation. In other words, if the NBA, LeBron and Daryl Morey was not going to lose money, this Johnson says the Hong Kong subject or the financial subject. That's where the confusion came in. And so those are just some of the topics that you guys can see.
You know, it's funny, man. I laugh about people when they talk about, obviously, this is a hot button issue. We have social media. I love, like the stuff, there's stuff that goes on in this country all the time. The Syrian refugees, what's going on the border down there. We're building a wall. You don't hear people talking about anything. I guarantee you half the people don't even know the subject, don't even know what's going on. So all I'm saying is inform yourself, as LeBron says, inform yourself. Yes, there are financial ramifications. We live in the real world. Yes, there are ramifications of people being abused, just like in this country. Yes, there are. That's happening. So all I'm saying is, yes, does one have something to do with the other? No, but let's understand where we are. Let's have an elevated conversation. Let's use that discussion to be like, hey, man, I get it. They got their issues over there, but that's their government. What about our government? What about what we do over here? Let's tweet about that. That's my thing. Let's tweet about what goes on here. I'm tired of talking about China. Let's some of these guys tweet about what's happening in New York, in inner city Chicago, and Houston, and people get shot by cops. Let's have that conversation. They don't want to have that conversation. They want to keep talking about China, because that'll get that end. That's called the pump fake, and that's called the play action fake. So let's kill the play action fake and talk about what's going on here. And who lost that game last night? Because we didn't pick. And again, the referees love Aaron Rodgers. I don't get it. Why it always have to happen. The Cowboys got robbed in Green Bay. The catch, Jimmy. We got robbed in Green Bay.
What year was that?
They changed the rule because of that. We got robbed in Green Bay. we probably would have gone to the Super Bowl. It ended Dez's career. It ended Dez's career. Jerry Jones fell out of love with him after that.
Man,
I'm
Harriet
telling you.
Tubman was a cheerleader back then.
Hey, Jimmy, can y'all hear me now? Because my mic,
Yes.
I've been having mic problems. I've been having mic problems, so I've been changing mics out as y'all were talking. I'm trying to be a little bit better, so I just wanted to make sure
that's
y'all.
that's a lot better right there.
That's a lot better.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so you know what? Let me tell y'all something. Take them little feet and get you a real mic like I got right here next to me.
You mean like I got right here? Hold on.
Yeah, like I got right.
I got
Hey,
that Tyrone mic.
hey,
What up, Tyrone?
You got
Hey,
to call Tyrone.
Hey,
But yeah,
No.
but I'm glad you segued into that, Jimmy. I mean, Chris. Why are you Chris? So what are you talking about? You finna go referees again? You finna go there?
What do you
You
mean?
finna go there again?
What do you
Just
mean?
because the referee are the referees that bad? The boom boom
Oh,
room.
man, let me tell you something, man.
Okay.
Listen, they robbed the Cowboys. I don't care what Rick Whitmore, anybody says. He's just a Cowboy hater. Number one. And you see the dude with his face on the screen right now, just like his wife, they are just Cowboy haters. But they grew up
We talking
Cowboy
about
fans.
the Packers last night. We talking about the Cowboys. We talking about last night's game.
No, because I'm still mad at what your wife did to me in the car the other day. Absolutely.
I should have taped that. I should have taped that.
Ridiculous how she handled me in the car. But the bottom line is listen, man, it always happens in Green Bay. Yo, Aaron Rodgers is in the witness protection program. I'm telling you, he's in the witness protection program. But guess what he did, though? He went to the coach. How about this? They had a bunch of injuries. He went to the coach and says, put Lazard in,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
He said, put him in. Because the little rookie, the one that the coaches put in, dropped the ball.
Yes.
I think it was on 1 yard. He said, put this other cat in, and he caught the ball.
Guess what though? Guess what? That other cat Lazard was on the practice squad. He was the last man on the totem pole. But that's a young
But
coach.
The star player
Yeah.
went to the boss and say, and you've done it before, Chris. Don't act like star players do it all the time.
Yeah.
What do you mean? They
All
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
You go
better
to
do it to
coach.
me. They better
Yeah.
know their role.
Put
Yeah.
it in the role.
Chris, they do. Because I've been around star players that go and say, Coach, look here, Coach. I know this, Coach, but hey, man, you got to sit dude down.
Go to the tuna, or go to Bill Belichick, or go to Nick Saban with that and see what happens.
If your name is Tom Brady, you can do it.
Hey, hold on. You know what? If your name, then Jimmy Garoppolo would still be in San Francisco. So don't go there now.
No, that's Kraft. That's Kraft doing. That's Kraft
I'm just
doing.
saying. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. Come on now.
But I mean, and
Jimmy
the
G
thing-
turned out to be pretty good though.
Well, they 5-0 right now. They're definitely pretty good.
Yeah,
And the thing,
we'll
the
see.
thing is,
We'll see.
thing from last night, you have to realize when I said that star players can get many bench riders on the field, on the court. They also have the ability to get starters off the court. I've seen it happen as well. I've seen guys look over at coach, point over at him, and the kid don't even know it. Sub next dead ball coming out because that star that got your butt off the court because you might. James Harden did it routinely with the Rockets.
With the Chris Paul. Hey man, listen.
I ain't
man.
gonna say who he did with. Hell, no, he was sitting right there.
I'm leaving it alone.
I gotta read something from the Boomer Room. These dudes are just so disrespectful.
Oh, they riding.
He says, my nephew, 14 years old, asked me if the Cowboys ever been to a Super Bowl. He said, no more VCRs to show him. I'm like, what is going? I don't get it, man. No VCRs. Like, what is the Cowboy hate? Is just unbelievable. But listen, when we get to that Super Bowl, I'm just telling you right now, we can tell everybody on the Boom Boom Room, let's put some money on it.
Chris.
Stop all that talking.
Hey, Chris, all I got to tell you is you found that that comment on the Boom Boom Room. Look what I just posted. Jimmy Chris ain't never been no star player.
Oh,
Wow.
Hey, Todd, you know what? Todd clearly is uninformed and uneducated on this subject, like LeBron says. How about that?
Say, man, no, Chris was the money kid, man.
No.
Oh, no. We can post some other pictures if y'all want to, Todd, and let me see yours.
No. Like I was sitting at a game. Hold up. I was sitting at a Rocket game, and this girl kept talking to me, and I just, this was a long time ago when Chris was single. Okay, so anybody watching it now, when he was single, and this girl kept talking about my friend who's I was talking about. I had a picture. You know how they be eye hustling, and they saw a picture. Chris had sent me a picture of him on CBS Sports. And the girl gonna ask me, who is that? I said, my partner, man. That suit he got on is kind of snug there, kind of tight.
Oh, my God.
And you know what I told her? He's Googleable. So guess what? When she Googled Chris, guess what she said, Todd Holmes? He don't look that bad. After she Googled Chris, hey, Chris, she read your receipts. You didn't look so bad in that Maserati. Hey,
The stories be sold and not be told.
hello.
Yeah.
Hey, I kept Jimmy Hicks alive, man. I was hitting home runs while he was striking out. I'm the one with the dirty uniform. Don't get it twisted.
Chris,
Rest in peace,
Chris,
Frank Seals.
Chris,
Frank Seals, rest in peace.
Chris, I think you were right. You know why? I'm telling you were right.
Why is that?
Jimmy walked me all over the TSU homecoming, okay? Trying to find me a person that gonna validate him, talking about getting you. Man, I met dudes, half of them was drunk half of them was a little inebriated, and they didn't understand it. They were slurred in their speech. And Jimmy kept taking me up to them people. Man, Chris Walker, I was better than Chris Walker. I was better than Chris Walker. I was better than Chris Walker. I was better than Chris Walker.
Jimmy played for the Bad News Braves, man. I'm just telling you, the Bad News Braves.
Hey, that's where I met him at. He was the back catcher. He was the back catcher. I was second base, and we were the last in the league in stolen bases and put out. I'm telling you.
You know what?
This guy,
You know what's so ironic? You know what's so ironic to me? You more mature gentlemen can remember that far back. Y'all y'all are great at remembering that far back. Those must have been.
That's what he did, Adam. He left and started playing basketball. And he knew it. There's a reason.
I played baseball at Milby, so you're wrong. But listen, since we're going down memory lane, everybody needs to understand, if you're new to this show, that Robert Hatter tried out.
He's alive. No, hey man.
Robert Hatter tried out. He had them. Hold on. Bill Fish was a coach. They still wore Chuck Taylors. They didn't make Nikes back then. He had them tight shorts on with them long Calvin Murphy socks.
I can't stand that dude, man.
And listen, and didn't make a shot.
But guess what?
Didn't make a shot. That's from Penny Hardaway. That is from Penny Hardaway, so you know it's the truth.
How is that true?
Hey,
yes, it's true.
Hey, man, that ain't true, man. Hey, man.
I'm just saying.
Bill Fish didn't even let me in the door.
Bill Fish still alive. Can we get Bill Fish on the top shot? He's
still alive.
I know he'll remember, because you always remember the terrible. People think you remember the good ones.
Speaking of Bill Fish, guess what? Bill Fish lost his lawsuit against Don Sterling. Don Sterling got mad at him and didn't pay him when he coached the Clippers. So you talk about Bill Fish. Don Sterling, he tried to sue Don Sterling. Don Sterling said, man, I got more money than you. Try to sue me. You're going to lose. So now, how about that? So what else we got, Jimmy?
So, okay, moving. Speaking of basketball, it appears that Gerald Green could be out for the season, not the regular season, out for the season.
What's wrong?
After suffering,
must be the fifth metatarsal. Jimmy, what do you think?
Well, they call it a Lisfranc.
Oh, Lisfranc. Oh,
in his left foot, which is Gerald Green is right-handed, so the left foot mean that's your plant foot to get off with. And this, I mean, man, this is sad news, because Gerald Green was, if you don't live in Houston, understand, every team has that motivational guy.
Yes.
Gerald Green is the Travis Scott. He has the energy when he walks in the building on a daily basis.
He does.
He found a way to latch on and remain with the team, because even though his skills have depreciated, which rightfully so with his age, coming out of high school in the class of 2005, and he went straight out of high. He committed to Oklahoma State and then went straight to the league out of high school. But man, I really feel sad.
He's also the team gardener too, ain't he? He's a team gardener.
Man, what you mean? What you mean by that? What you mean by that?
I can't stand that dude right there, man.
He's a team gardener, ain't he? I thought
I can't stand that dude right there, man.
Somebody has to authenticate. Somebody got to authenticate. You know, you can't have no. I mean,
somebody got to go get it. Hold up, somebody got to go get it.
But hey, and we love Gerald Green. I mean, and the thing about like a guy like Gerald, to give you guys some intel to help you understand. Gerald Green grew up in Houston, played at Dobie High School, transferred over to Gulf Shores at the time when the Gulf Shores Academy, alongside Wink Adams, Henry Uhegwe, they call him Hero. He's one of the stars in the Pro-Am League, on the Pro Circuit League. Well, Gerald Green played basketball for Rick Nelson and the Houston Elite at the time. He started off with John Urie and then went over to Rick Nelson. Well, Gerald, after he went pro, he's one of those guys that pretty much every year he's going to find a way to come back and give back to the program for which he played from. There's a lot of guys out there that give back, not discounting them, but I'm talking about the rare amount of grown-ups who give back to the actual program that you played with. That's the thing. Not to slight nobody, but I saw him and he took care of those kids, man, and him and Tim Frazier, those guys, they give back. Not to mention, I'm leaving a bunch of guys out. I'm talking about I saw them
in Vegas, right? That was Vegas, I thought, right?
I remember you called me and told me about that, Jim. But
so little bitty things like that, you can never forget moments. And it ain't just, I've seen other guys that just cut a check and kept on moving. But when you're giving back, it's more than just money. Giving your time and people can engage and interact with you.
Right.
You're swinging a golf club with the little kid that's in the 9th grade. That's a lifelong memory. It would be hard for that kid to never be a fan of yours again.
Jimmy.
That's the type of things I'm talking about.
And Chris, do you have something to say? Because I got a Gerald Green story that I had for a while, and I never talked about it and to people who might not know. We might people. What it is, Gerald Green's story is great. That's what's great about the NBA to me, that we get something like a Gerald Green story. He was one of the last players to enter the NBA straight out of high school. Okay? To be honest, one of the better examples of why the rule need to be changed. I see them chopping him up on it. Y'all cut that out. Okay. Hey.
What's wrong with these dudes?
But Chris, let me help you though. He was
crazy, man.
Chris, he was clearly talented. To the people who don't know, he won the 2007 slam dunk competition by jumping over a table. He was runner-up up that year after that. Remember the birthday cake dunk? I was at that one. Okay. Yeah. He was a fan vote that year. He also was a little bit immature when Boston traded him to Minnesota in the Kevin Durant deal, where he couldn't find his role. I'm just giving history. And he really just didn't develop. And he bounced back from the Wolves to the Rockets to the Mavs, then to Russia, then to China, then to the D-League, then to the Nets, to the Pacers, then the Suns. Y'all hear my story here. Hold up, my camera kind of going out of focus here. Okay, let me get back in focus. And then the Suns. But what I want, almost everything about this Gerald Green guy, man. Tim McMahon. They were talking about he might as well stay there in his driveway. I heard some people talking about he was in his driveway playing pickup with his Rottweiler when the Rockets gave him the call. And then some people talking, negative about him. But let me tell you something. He got an off-court relationship with one of the best players in the world, and that's James Harden. So Gerald Green to me, y'all, it's a delightful story. Go look that story up. People would kid about him, but that was a great, great story, man. Great story.
Man, Gerald Green from Houston, man. H-Town, man. Same way we big up Beyonce. She don't really claim the H. I like the dudes that claim the H. And Gerald Green
do claim the H, Chris.
No, she don't claim the H, man. She does not claim the H, man. I'm sorry. Beyonce don't claim the H.
Yes, she do, Chris.
Not like she should, man. Heck no, not like she should.
Please. Chris. The woman claimed the H, Jimmy.
How many songs she got Houston in? She claimed.
Man, please, man. That's like you say about LeBron. She's all about the politics.
Now she don't claim Westbury Christian or something.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
She claims the
She claims St. John. Does she claim that too?
Yeah, I don't know, but that's what I'm saying.
Y'all only the real Houstonians know what I'm talking about when I say that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, what you saying, Chris?
That, man, I'm keeping it 100, man. I'm getting chopped up on the Facebook feed, man. I need to put Rick in Facebook jail. Rick, Todd Holmes in Facebook jail. Anthony Weston, we gonna ship him to China so he can see what it's really like over there. Because all these people talking all that mess, we need to get them understanding. All you Cowboy haters, you're drinking Haterade today. Drink some water. It's healthier.
But Chris,
stay off the Haterade.
Chris, I try to like the Cowboys until one of their obnoxious fans like you open their mouth. I try to lie. I feel sorry for them sometimes.
Why? Why you feel sorry?
They just an accident waiting to happen.
It's the NFL, man. You ain't gonna. You know what? NFL means not for long. You're not gonna be undefeated for long, man. You're gonna lose some games. Okay. It's a season. Okay. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
But Chris,
listen, $5 billion. Say it with me, Hatter. $5 billion, the number one sports franchise in all of the world. We're not America's team. We're the world's team.
Chris.
And if they had a team on Mars, we'd be the number one team there too. Okay, Chris, keep it moving. What you got?
Chris and Jimmy, for the first 3 weeks in September, you walked into this studio every day on a Monday talking about, how about them Cowboys? So, of course, Rick Wilmore and Todd Holmes and those people, they're going to give you a hard time. So
is the season over? I mean, it's the season over.
Guess what? And I love your hat. I can do all things. But next time, put the Ephesians, I forgot.
You don't know. You ain't go to church this Sunday. You don't know.
It's in Ephesians. You can put, I can do all things. Hold up. Through Christ that strengthens me. See, you need to go
to black church and stop going to Joel Osteen all the time. That's your problem. You don't know no scriptures.
I can't stand it. What we got next, man? Because I'm tired of him.
Hey, next up, we're going to mail, man. We're at the top of the hour, Adam, and this is a great time, of course, to share one of the commercials with the viewers. Right?
Okay. You want to take a break? Let's
take
a little break.
Let everybody stretch. Show you a quick commercial of something that's coming up, of course.
What's up, basketball fans? Rossi Karen here with U Sports Group. I want to take the time to officially invite everyone out to the Battleground 2K19, December 18th, here at the Toyota Center. The Battleground 2K19 will be one of college basketball's premier events of the season, featuring Big 12 powerhouse Baylor Bears as they take on the UT Martin Skyhawks. The defending Mountain West champions and preseason top 25 ranked Utah State Aggies will go head-to-head with the South Florida Bulls. And the Pac-12's Oregon State Beavers will battle Conference USA favorites, the UTSA Roadrunners. The background for this triple header will be the Athletes Against Abuse initiative. Athletes Against Abuse is a children's rights campaign created to inspire athletes to use their talent, notoriety, and influence to bring awareness to child abuse in our country. The A3 initiative will utilize this basketball platform to blend sport and service. For more information on the Athletes Against Abuse initiative or to purchase your tickets to the Battleground 2K19, visit battleground2k.com. So, join me here at the Toyota Center, December 18th for the Battleground 2K19.
All right, that was Rossi Karen.
Hold on, Jimmy, I got some more fun.
Mark your calendars for Saturday, November the 16th at the M.O. Campbell Center located in Houston, Texas. That's the RCS Sports season opener. A day filled of high school boys basketball starting at 9:30 a.m. when Aldine Nimitz takes on Houston Christian, followed by Aldine Davis versus Sam Houston. Langham Creek will take on Summer Creek. Westbury Christian versus Port Arthur Memorial. How about Dickinson versus Beaumont United? That's a rematch of the Super 16 Extravaganza Championship game. Martin Ranch will take on Jack Yates at 5 p.m., followed by Hightower versus Cypress Creek. And the finale, Shadow Creek versus Episcopal at 8 p.m. That's the RCS Sports season opener, powered by Boost Mobile. A limited amount of $5 tickets are on sale now at all participating schools. That's the season opener on Saturday, November the 16th.
And hey, let me tell you something.
Hold on, we got a little bit more. Hold
on. We play basketball. We're all the basketball.
Good talk, Chris.
Listen, man, I heard Jimmy get choked up. He got choked up right when he's getting ready to say Hightower because he had Hatter in his brain. He had to make sure.
Hey.
If he didn't get Hightower and Woods, is Woods still coaching over there? He got a lot of pressure on him. He gonna have Robert Hatter breathing on his neck every single game.
Guess what? Robert Hatter gonna be sitting right across
every single game.
You have Coach Woods' number.
Coach Woods on the feed right now.
Oh, he's on.
You know he ain't teaching.
Coach Woods. No, I am one of the most supporters of his program. I don't tell him. Let me tell you something. I learned some long time ago, and I taught my son this when he was complaining about the referees. I said, "Hey, son, come here. It's three things going on out there. You're gonna either ref, you're gonna either coach, or you're gonna play. You can't do but one of them. So if I catch you reffing again, you're gonna be reffing. If I catch you coaching again, you're gonna be coaching. You ain't gonna play no more." So we nipped that in the bud right there. So Chris, I let the coaches coach, and guess what I do? I just spectate, and I'm gonna cheer for Bryce Griggs, and I'm gonna cheer for LJ Cryer. Those kids are near and dear to my heart, and guess what? I'm gonna cheer for them.
I'm just glad that you finally, Jimmy. Yeah. I'm just glad we finally got him to come out.
Yes,
he finally came out the closet.
I came out the closet. I got Jimmy, what they say in the NCAA? I got a pre-existing relationship with those kids.
I'm just happy you finally came out, man. I mean, God is good.
And of course, that Hightower game is going to be classic. That's going to be on Saturday, November the 16th at the Campbell Center, 6:30. Hightower versus Cypress Creek. They feature a 6'8" power forward named Nate Martin, and it's going to be an intriguing day of basketball. Get over, of course.
We got something for Nate. We got something for Nate.
Huh?
We got something for Nate.
You got a 6'8"?
No, yeah, we got two 6'7s.
Okay. Now I want to speaking of course Nate, and he's of course signed with Texas, committed to Texas State. I wanted to go in the mailbag, and
okay, let's go.
We haven't had Chris to share in none, and it's been going on a 4 radio days.
That's right.
In a row, but you hadn't really just chimed in from your college coaching perch on some recruiting stuff. I'm going in my mailbag from this morning, and here's what I got. And Chris, we're going to toss it to you. There's a parent, rather than reading this big old long text message, I'm going to show you the parent. There's a kid that committed to a school. He's a 12th grader. And there's other schools who have been pecking at the kid and called and asked the kid for him to decommit. Then they say they will offer him. Now, they did not call the dad or the mom or the parent or whatever. They went and contacted the kid directly. And so now the kid is confused because one of those schools is a school that he wanted to go to at first a month ago or 2 months ago, whatever. But they, you know how they do when they stall you on the.
Yeah, because they don't get who they want, so they come back around.
So they come back around. So explain from the coach's angle what's going on now, because the parents are asking for the interpretation, and what should they do?
Oh man, and I don't want some coach to get mad at me, but I'll just say what I believe is probably happening. And I love for the Boom Boom Room to chime in. This is what I'll tell you. And I'll start it by saying this is not to make fun of TSU or Prairie View or anything like that, because both of those coaches, Johnny Jones and Byron, they do a tremendous job, and I think they're very good coaches. But imagine TSU recruiting you for a very long time, and people don't even know you exist, and you go play in one game, Hatter, and all of a sudden the University of Texas offers you a scholarship. Right? Does it matter how long TSU is recruiting you? I always like to tell people to keep it 100.
Okay.
Stop the BS, because that's why people get over on you, because you're not being honest. So at the end of the day, the people put you aside. It doesn't, when they put you aside, did that school stop being your favorite school? Or how honest were they with you? So if they weren't honest with you then, why would you even consider them now? What are you confused about? The question is this. I talked to a young man late last night on the West Coast. His dad called me, Chris, I need your advice. He asked me about 3 coaches. And he asked me about, I said, listen, man, let me tell you something. There's only one thing that matters when it comes to these young men in this day and age. And I've learned this over time. And in 20 plus years, it has not failed. And I probably had 40 kids go to college that played for my programs. And I tell them the same thing. The food tastes better. The women look better. The coach act better. The air breathes better. And the work is easier when you get on that flow. Right or wrong, Hatter?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When you don't play, the women are all ugly. The food is nasty. The coach hates only you. The air smells, and the room is too small. The bottom line is, where are you going to play? Just like Ramogi said yesterday, you only have leverage before you sign a letter of intent.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time you got leverage. And you got to look at the roster. They still going to tell you what you want to hear. It don't matter. And I will tell parents this. A young man at 18 years old is no match for a Chris Walker as a recruiter. He's no match for a Jerome Tang. He's no match for a Tony Stubblefield. Make sure you stay involved with your kids' recruiting because it's a family decision. It ain't his decision. It's a family decision. Because when things go wrong, who is he going to call, Hatter? Family.
Bam. Yep.
When things go right, who's going to be sitting right there with him every step of the way? Family. So why are you letting an 18-year-old kid make a decision with a bunch of trained grown-ups that are trained to tell him nothing that's bad and only that's good? So if the parents ask me a question, the bottom line is, do you trust them? Right? Are you going to play? So obviously you weren't their first choice. Are you okay with that? Right? So if things don't work out, when you go there, you've gone to a school who put you on the shelf, right? You weren't their first choice. So if it doesn't work out, how would that make you feel? They showed you who they were.
Mm.
You got to understand that basketball is a business. People keep getting caught up in these offers. So I told a kid last night, he says, well, they got a point guard and they're telling me we can play together. I say, let me ask you a question. If they didn't have a point guard, would they be more appealing? He said, yes. I said, take them off the list. I said, listen, son, you want to say you have 14 offers. I saw your 20 offers. I saw your Instagram page. Guess what, though? You can only go to one school. You got to start crossing them off. You got to find reasons to cross them off, boy, or you're going to be confused up until the signing day. You can't go to every school.
That's good. Find a reason. Did you say find a reason to cross them off?
Yes, you got to find a reason to cross some of these people off.
Okay.
Because guess what they would do if they were better players than you? Cross you off.
Wow.
But Chris, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad. Coaches can get mad about that. That's real. I mean, that's great information. Jimmy, you got something else? I mean, you want to?
Well, I wanted to chime in on that. And here's my thing is, I haven't gave my response to the text message. We just tuned in. We're talking in the mailbag, and we're talking recruiting situation. And this is a real life recruiting situations. And there is many of you may know someone or may have experienced it before, whereas a young man or a young lady had committed to a college, and other colleges may come swarming in, and at this time of the year to try to get you to influence you to change, or that young person to change their minds. Well, here's my thoughts. My thoughts, and I pull up the floor mat and look up under the rug of it. I would tell the parent to call, first of all, to call that college coach or whoever to call his son, or first and ask that parent, who do I need to thank for giving you my son's number right now, or for putting you back in the connection with this situation? Who do I need to thank? And the college coach won't see you coming. They're gonna say, well, you know what? You know, your homeboy John Doe, Chris Walker gave me the number. You know, he talked really good about your son. Okay, thank you so much. I just want to be able to tell him thank you. Then as a parent, you need to call Chris Walker and you tell him to stay the hell out of your family business. You didn't hire him. You didn't ask him for nothing. Don't do that any damn more. Stay the hell out of your family business.
Hey, Jimmy, but Jimmy, you know it depends on the situation. It depends on if it's a two-parent home. You know how these guys are now. They know how to operate. You know, they operate like them gangsters. How Biggie Smalls say they operate. You know how they operate in silence, like you don't see them coming.
Yeah,
So,
but if the college coach will give them up if they want to get in.
If you want to get in, they're gonna give them up.
I agree, but here's my thing. But here's my thing, and why I preface everything about the TSU thing to start. No disrespect to them. If you don't sign the letter of intent, we already established through Ramogi that the letter of intent is the worst thing on the world to sign. If you have not signed a letter of intent, in my mind, you are still free game. And you know who proves that more than any sport? Football. Because they got dudes that commit and change. That practice doesn't happen in basketball. Very rarely does a kid commit and change his mind. In football, they do it all the time. It's almost like you wait for a dude to commit so you know who the competition is. They don't do that in basketball. In basketball, 99% of the time, they stay solid. So if I were really giving advice, I say, listen, man, you are a free agent until you sign something. If you haven't signed something, people can come back and forth into your life. It's just like being married. At the end of the day, if you're not married, you can do what you want to do until you make that commitment. And if you have not signed that paper, you have a choice. You have options. That is the truth. You have options, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's a gentleman's agreement that football does not have and basketball does, that's fine. But at the end of the day, it should be what's in the best interest of the kid. And sometimes, let me tell you something, man. Sometimes you'll think just because someone is recruiting you differently doesn't mean it's the best option. You understand what I'm saying? Just because someone's going all in on you don't mean it's the best option. I've been there. I've gone all in on the kid and knowing that he's our fifth choice. And I'm like, yo, this dude's going to go and we might get this dude. Because guess what? We lost out on 1 through 4. And it's better for him to go to the other place. But guess what? He like Nike school. So he going to come here. Well, you know what? We got pretty girls. I'm like, are you serious? But you'll be surprised at the kind of decisions that people, I want to get a degree in engineering. Dude. I want to see the next basketball player at the Power 5 that has an engineering degree. Dude, as soon as they get there, you know the first thing they do? Man, this is too hard. I can't practice. I got too much work. I can't have a social life. I can't rest. I can't this. Coach, what's up with communications? That stuff that Hatter took, political science. Come on now. You know what time it is. People don't want to keep it 100. They do not want to keep it 100 with these recruits, man. Don't be afraid to ask them questions, Hatter.
Chris,
so what are some of the questions?
Chris, it's possible to do, Chris.
It's not possible.
Yes, it is.
Not if you're a dude. Not if you're a dude.
Yes, it is. It's possible to do.
All right, name one.
What you mean?
Name one dude that's got a science degree, a chemical engineering degree that was a first-round draft pick.
Myron Rowe.
I don't know one.
Myron Rowe.
Name
and
another.
he also was a Rhodes Scholar. Myron Rowe from Florida State.
Name another.
I can go. Player. You talking about the football player that was?
He went back to school to get that though.
No. But you go look at his undergrad. So you just can't say that blanket statement.
I had it. There's thousands of dudes that's played. Okay,
I'm not saying but you said not all of them. Chris, you can't say all.
I'm gonna give you a science project. Give me 10 out of 10,000 that have played.
And the reason they don't like science is because them sciences have labs. And them labs be too long.
They don't. I understand that. But I'm just telling you, they don't.
But all I said it was possible, and you talking about name one. I'm gonna
name
have
one.
some,
okay,
I'm gonna have some
two.
more. I'm gonna have some more for your know-it-all. I'm gonna have some more for you.
And give me one from basketball too while you at it.
I got one. I'm gonna have something for you. I'm gonna have something for you. Because if you can do that fraternity mess and all that old mess y'all be doing.
That's in the summertime.
Yeah, okay.
That's in the spring. What's the season's over?
Come on, Jimmy.
That's when the season's over, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, leave that alone. We're gonna go leave that alone.
Okay.
In the Boomer Room, they have questions and they're addressing this issue because this is important. We're dropping nuggets. Whenever we start dropping recruiting nuggets, and if you guys missed yesterday's show, do us a favor. Later on, go back and watch yesterday's show. The second half at the 1:15 mark when we were joined by Ramogi Huma. And that was some good intel for people that want to understand, like Chris said, and you know, it's just about taking charge of your recruitment. And so many parents out there are held hostage. And I understand how it goes. I've seen it. Hell, I've been, see, the thing about it is like, you know, some people say it's an old adage, and I don't know if you guys may have heard this before. It is some of the best preachers were the ones who did the most wrong and turned over. And I don't know how, but it's an old saying.
I ain't heard that.
Some of the better.
Oh, Malcolm X was in Malcolm Little. Come on, man. Before he was Malcolm X, he was
I
Malcolm
ain't never
Little.
heard that saying though.
But some of your greatest sinners in one time. I mean, so and game recognized game. They can go and preach it.
You talking about like Moses? He wrote two-thirds of it. Hold up. He wrote 2/3 of the Old Testament, and he killed an Egyptian and put him in the sand. You talking about Apostle Paul, who used to kill Christians? I'm just. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, modern day. Modern day.
I thought I'd take y'all through a little walk through history.
Yeah, he been at Joel Osteen's. Keep going.
Hey. That's exactly where he been to. He just left. Like, yeah, what? He go out because he left. Because that's a whole different topic. That means you go in the Osteen. That means you left who you was at last week. You left over that Willard Avenue. You left over that. I'm just gonna stop.
He don't know what he. Hey Jimmy, look who talking. Eddie Haskell.
Yeah, Chris Walker is Eddie.
What are you saying? How am I Eddie Haskell? I'm looking at the Boom Room comments, and I'm laughing. I mean, it's funny.
Hey, you know what I love? You know what I love about that Boom Room? Somebody sent me said NBA players with some sort of science degree. Let me give you a few of them, Chris Walker. Jeremy Lin.
Are you
really? Slow down.
Are you serious?
Hold up.
Are you really serious?
Kelly Olynyk. Mason Plumlee. Victor, Chris, you ran your mouth.
I didn't want to go there, Jimmy.
Chris,
Jimmy, you know where I'm going, Jimmy.
Chris, you ran your mouth. Let me finish. Can I finish? Can I finish the list?
Hold on, let me do this.
Can I finish the list?
I didn't want to go there.
Can I finish the list?
Keep going.
Victor Oladipo, what color is he?
Indiana, no way.
Roy Hibbert, what color was he?
Are you serious?
Jeff Green.
White nerd.
Hold on. Jeff Green, what color was he?
Oh,
Vince Carter, what color was he?
You know that?
Andrew Nicholson at St. Bonaventure, what color was he? Chris Walker, thank you. I'm not going to tell you, send me this. Chris Walker, you are the donkey of the day.
You had just mentioned 7 scrubs.
You the donkey of the day, Chris Walker.
You just mentioned 7 scrubs. I said the good ones, not the scrubs.
I don't want to hear that mess.
Chris.
The scrubs.
Chris.
Let me say this, guys.
That picture of me swinging that.
Let me do it scaling. Hold on, guys. Let me explain. I'm gonna hold
up, Jim. I'm gonna find it. Keep talking, Chris.
Let me good talk a walk of y'all for a second. I'm gonna do you what Jimmy says. When people talk about Jimmy's rankings, he always mention the word. What's the word, Jimmy? They gotta understand what?
No, I use a couple of words.
No, but the what? 1 through 10. They gotta understand what?
The range.
The range. When I say there ain't many that do it or none that do it, there's thousands that play, and I guarantee you can only name about 5. Woo! And that's tens of thousands that play. So shut it down, player. Okay.
Watch this. Woo! Say it again, Sandra. One more time, Sandra. Chris.
Sandra?
Yeah, that was Sandra saying, woo. Hey. But
I'm gonna say it again.
Chris,
thousands that play. I guarantee you, probably the only ones you can name.
Some of them for you, Chris.
What's that?
He's asking if you know a kid is the last choice and might commit. How do you keep him from committing?
What?
Say it again.
If you know a kid, right, is the last choice, and he might commit to you, how as a coach, meaning that there's a kid that was your 5th option, for example.
Depends on if we were trying to get it done or not.
He's trying to commit to you. As a college coach, what are some of the signs that you can tell this young man that you guys often do to prevent or hinder them from committing? People need to know this. I mean, and this is great stuff. Really, really great stuff.
Okay. Here's some secrets.
I mean, seriously, what I would do is it depends on if you wanted him or not. If you
don't want him to commit to
that.
Oh,
you don't want him? Oh, well, that's easy.
So how do you say? They're calling you on the phone and
listen, man. first of all, you don't answer the phone. That's number one.
That's it. Number one.
Number one, you don't answer it.
Okay.
You don't answer it.
But you don't know he's trying to commit when he first called, though, right?
Okay, so I'm just saying. So if you know he's trying to commit, you don't answer. Number two, if he called and you see him trying to answer it, you just do what he had to do when he do all the time. Look, hold on. I got my reception is bad. Let me get back to you in a second. Give me a second. You got to buy yourself some time. Then you go to your boss. Hey, man, this dude trying to commit. Do we want this dude or not? And then that give you about, 5 or 10 minutes, and y'all sit around in a little semicircle, or you hit your boss. Hey, man, this kid's trying to commit. Are we trying to do this or not? The boss gives you a thumb up, or like Caesar, he gives you the thumb up or the thumb down. And when he give you the thumb down, you say, look, man, I hate to tell you this, but we had another kid. We took a commitment. It's not public yet. But we took a commitment, and we were going to let you know, but we didn't get a chance to get back to you and let you know in time. Or it gets ridiculous now. I'm going to tell you, it gets ridiculous. All right, man, we took another kid at your position already, or we made a decision that, you know what, we're not going to recruit that position anymore. You were on my list of calls today. I didn't get a chance to get to you. But I'm glad you called so we can have this conversation. Come on, man, it's too smooth, man. You're not going to get around those cats, man. They're way too smooth.
So the coaches are just that smooth with it. But they're not going to tell, many of them in most cases, Chris, they're not going to tell you we're going in a different direction.
They may say, they may not say that if you're the last choice. Listen, man, by the time it gets to that, everybody knows the deal. You know you're the last choice by that point. Everybody, think about it on Twitter, Instagram, there's so much stuff going on. People understand people's recruiting real time. If you don't, you're out of your mind, because you can see what's happening in everybody's recruiting all day long. Hey. And trust me, you can think I've seen lawyers, I've seen doctors, I've seen people that think they got all the sense in the world bow down to a college coach when it comes to recruiting. I'm just telling you, I've seen it time and time again. Match for them. Trust me. If you don't have your stuff in order, like a Robert Hatter, now, I don't want to chop Hatter up, but he didn't have to go. It wasn't Cornell in Kentucky or Cornell in Duke, because I'd have strangled Robert Hatter if he sent him to Cornell. So let's start there. Don't say nothing, Hatter. Hold up. Don't say nothing. I would have strangled Robert Hatter.
Wait a minute. You would have strangled me what if I had chose
Cornell over Duke or Cornell over Kentucky? Because that means he a pro. So we got to make a different decision.
No. I looked at Kentucky's roster over the last 2 years. All of those guys not pro. What's Jimmy's favorite word? You have the opportunity.
I understand that.
But guess what?
If they wanted him,
you know why you wouldn't have talk to me like that? Because this daddy knows the odds.
Man, please.
This daddy has represented guys who thought like you.
See?
Hold up.
There you go.
Hold up.
There you go.
Hold up. No, you came there. I didn't come there. Hold up.
You're not being honest. Hold up.
His dad has represented the guys that went. Some of the guys that went to Kentucky and then went to No. And those guys are in Siberia or somewhere trying to play basketball. And instead of sitting in a corner office overlooking the Hudson River with his feet kicked back, telling them what to do. So guess what?
See, I set him up and let him have fun.
You couldn't have told Chris.
I let him set him up.
All you got to do, go talk to your homeboy, Alan Branch. Chris, that was in place. So you better use another example. Because ain't nowhere in the world.
I'm going to leave him alone.
No.
Jimmy.
Go. I got a Memphis degree.
Leave him alone, Jimmy.
One more. Ain't Memphis a hotbed right now? Memphis a hotbed, right?
It's about time. It's been about 20 years.
Chris.
No, they were not.
It's been about 20 years.
Kentucky, Chris Walker. Kentucky has never impressed me. Might impress my son, but it ain't impressed me. Go.
No, he's talking about the state of Kentucky.
I'm talking about the state and the school and all the trapping. Chris, I've seen guys who went there. Listen, Chris.
Whoa. So here's what I'm saying. You're telling me that if Duke, Mike Krzyzewski walked in your house and be like, Robert Hatter, we want to have your son. He going to start as our point guard. You're going to say, I'm going to Cornell. Stop that.
I'm going to Cornell. Let me tell you why. There's one school, Chris. I told this story, Jimmy. There's one school other than Harvard could have changed that, and that's Stanford with Johnny Dawkins.
Stop it.
If Johnny Dawkins had a did it, offered, of course, I would have went to Stanford. That's the only other school, Chris Walker. I'm just telling you. See, I didn't grow up in Rosewood, Chris. I grew up in South Memphis, and I wanted my grandkids. Guess what? Listen, no. You got to hear this because you don't think like this. I think generational. I think generational.
I went to Villanova.
Hold on.
Right,
okay. I want my grandkids, when they grow up, they not gonna wish, oh, I can go to Harvard. I can go. They gonna expect, Chris Walker, to go to Harvard, Princeton. They're gonna expect it. If they go anywhere else, it's okay. But Jimmy, they gonna have what? The opportunity to go to these places. If I don't, so guess what? I know a lot of black folks. I know a lot of people that went to Kentucky. I know Dirk Minifield went to Kentucky. I know a lot of my friends that went to Kentucky. I know a lot of my friends that.
We're not talking about this.
No. I'm just telling you, Kentucky is. You got to go higher than that. Now, if you had to say Stanford, we're
talking about guys that you're misunderstanding my.
No, I did not.
I'm telling you that guys got to go change, like Julius Randle, the guys that make it to the league and making hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm talking about that Kentucky. I don't know what Kentucky you talking about. I'm talking about that
guess
Kentucky.
what? I was smart enough to know my.
I want to get on the bus on the private plane with you. Chris, I ain't let you do that.
Chris, I had a 6'1" little skinny guard. I ain't crazy.
I know.
Even if Kentucky had offered him. Kentucky, guess who went to Kentucky?
Why you naming on the failure?
No. But I'm just telling you, it's possible for a 6'1" guard. If it's possible for a 6'6" guard to not make it, it's very possible for a 6'1" guard not to make it. Chris, sometimes you got to understand everybody don't think like you. It's okay.
What are you talking about, dude? I'm on the other side. It ain't about thinking about me.
No.
I'm telling you at the end of the day.
You said you would have choked me?
Full of it.
No, I'm not.
Full of it.
Hey, Jimmy, here. We had this disagreement.
No.
Let me tell you. Jimmy,
let me tell a story.
Jimmy,
we was outside Papados. Hadda yelled at me like I was his nephew. He yelled at me. It took 4 days for Hadda to recover. He yelled at me like I was his nephew.
He a liar. Hey. He gonna, Chris, it's the same thing he lied about. Man, but no, if Kentucky, he loves some Kentucky. Why didn't you go to Kentucky?
I went to Villanova. We won 2 national championships the last 4 years.
They didn't win nothing when you went there. They didn't win nothing when you were there.
Hadda, you see the background? We good, okay? You see the background? We good. All right. Hey, hold on, guys. We have to talk about Jimmy. We have to talk about the article that came out about
sleep deprivation.
Oh my God, we got to talk
article about that hit on ESPN yesterday. And in case you guys missed it, I'm trying to you can pull up the author of the article. I always try to give some of the guys credit.
Oh, you want to give him credit? He kind of weird.
No, but I mean he's the author of the article, so you give him credit.
Baxter Holmes.
Baxter Holmes. Okay.
Yes.
So Baxter wrote that. So Baxter Holmes penned the article basically going.
He went to Kentucky, Jimmy. He went to Kentucky.
And he basically shed light into the underbelly of what goes on with a lot of the NBA players and their lack of sleep as a result of going and traveling at weird hours. A lot of people have no idea that how to travel a set, and especially in those back-to-back games, which the NBA has modified and improved the amount of back-to-backs that every team in the league plays over the past 2 seasons. But
can I give them one story? The league story, how they started off with?
Yeah.
I can just and like I say, the name of the article is called NBA's the dirty little secret in the NBA that everybody knows about but don't talk about it. They said it was an afternoon on February 26th last year during a 3-game and 4-night stretch. The Miami Heat center Hassan Whiteside is on a roll. Tomorrow night, his Heat will host the Golden State Warriors, then fly to Houston to face the Rockets on February the 28th. But now he's rattling off what time the Warriors game will end, around 10 p.m. When they board the flight, it will be 11:30 or later. When they land in Houston, it'll be 2 a.m. And by the time they arrive to the hotel, Jimmy, he figures it'll be about 3 a.m. in the morning before playing the Rockets later that day. And that's just what we got to do tomorrow, he says. So that's think about that, Chris.
Crazy. And they wonder why these dudes don't play back-to-backs. And only people that have gone through that, Jimmy, you talking about a college game, they just got to play one game a week on the road usually, maybe two. Mm-hmm. People have no idea what it's like to travel. Hey, man, let me tell you something. I don't have to play the games and travel with me. I can't imagine having to go out there and perform in front of 18,000 people on TV, worldly, and people criticizing you, and you Kobe Bryant, you're LeBron, and you got to be a dude. Like, you got to actually perform. You don't get to have a bad game. Game after game after game. These dudes are something else, man. I'm telling you, like they machines, bro.
What do you think about it, Jim?
I mean, it factors in, and the thing about this is, Chris Paul is the head of the Players Association.
Right.
LeBron is the assistant, right? The vice president. Mm-hmm. They collectively spoke up on this issue with a couple of years ago, and that's what prompted the change. If they don't say nothing, this stuff been going on.
Yeah.
Think about it. It's been going on. And planes, remember now, back in the older days, they didn't have charter flights on a lot of the teams.
Right.
So think about how bad it was when in the days of John Lucas them. Mm-hmm. When they still had the same back-to-backs in different cities, and guys would get in there, and then and what has come above around the new since the turn of the millennium was a lot of cities, when the social media boom took place with the Twitter and whatnot and Facebook and well, a lot of people in different cities had club party promoters, and I mean this was a way for a lot of the entourage to make a quick snap.
What entourage? What do you mean? What do you mean by entourage?
Well, entourage meaning every player has a crew, has his boys. Gotcha. And they're going in different cities. You know, either going with you or they already there. Or every city has boys in certain cities. Now you ain't going to Milwaukee. My boy Chris, you on your own in Milwaukee.
What about LA?
LA, we all there. So what happens is, if it's a weekend, Hatter's gonna get a party and hook up a party for you to make for you to make an appearance at a spot on Friday. I've got a deal with one of my people in LA, and we got you connected to show up on Saturday. The game ain't till Sunday. We had a 2-day gap. Guess what? That's a way that you know that for Hatter, you ain't got to go in your pocket and pay us nothing. That's our way. We earn our little old snatch off of that.
So we killed the club game. So they killing the club game.
No, they don't do. Jimmy, did you explain to them they don't do that no more?
The NBA
frowns on that. Yeah.
What's then died out?
The market for those, you don't see them like certain so-and-so coming to town.
Let me explain to you why, Jimmy. It's a reason why.
Well, because I know one of the reasons that I know
when
we
they attach your name to that party, people have been getting trouble. You've been liable for what happens at that party.
And then number two is a lot of people. See, that's the thing I'll tell people about tricking people. You can only trick people for so long. A lot of people will get up and show up at those places. You got to realize there's naive and new boots everywhere. They would show up at 10 o'clock, waiting to see John Doe come make his appearance. John Doe come and walk in there at 1:45.
1:45 and out at 1:55.
Because the flyers say he's going to be there.
Yeah.
And so people really got tired of that. in different cities because the word would get out now because of social media. Because what Haller would see somebody would see Chris Walker out at Grand Lux, and you're eating, and hell, you just sit down. Now social media knows it, so you know you're not going to come to the party or to the club at this time. So this is the thing. The market. My point is that these guys and this generation, they don't hardly sleep like that anyway. They staying up late. Even Chris, when you were a college coach, what time did your players go to bed while you were on the road?
Oh man, they listen early, triple check. They're not allowed to leave the hotel. Period. They're in
the room, but are they asleep?
Listen, we take the phones from them. How about that? We make sure they go to sleep. We do phone collection.
You know what? That's
every
weird.
Single night. And somebody's like, well, what are we going to call their parents? Well, what they going to do? They're not getting on the plane that night. They're not getting on the plane. And if I'm doing my job as a coach, if there's a real problem, guess who the parent going to call? Me. So if you don't take their phone, they're going to be on social media talking to those girls all night long. Take it from them. They go to sleep. Period. And you know what's funny? I done had other players snitch on other players before we started taking the phones.
So they had
he's like, phone. Coach, I can't room with him. He on the phone all night. They little snitches. All they do is talk on the phone all night, man. Coach, you gotta get me out of this room. And then you go ask the other kid, hey man, you look like you don't tell him that the dude snitched on him. You do it the other way. You smooth with it. You say, look, man, you look tired, man. You been on your phone now, right? Haven't you? Coach, I ain't been on my phone. The other dude been on his phone. That's how they do it. Ain't no loyalty. You just Pablo Escobar them. You catch them, they snitch on each other every time. And then you just make a rule that take everybody's phone. That's what you do.
That's what you do as the coach.
Take everybody's phone.
So as a college coach, Chris, and you got me curious. So name a situation that a kid got over on you, because you sound like a kid can't never get over on you.
No, no. This is trial and error. This is trial and error. This is after they do get over on you. Then you learn, okay, guess what? I'm going to set a different mousetrap. Because we've had kids that try to go outside to, get out of the room, and we've caught them, because guess what? We caught them on the Uber tip. That's how we've caught some of them sometimes. We tell the people at the front desk if they've left. All you got to do is catch one of them. Then you know what you got to stop them? You can't let them switch rooms. That's the other way you know they done doing something wrong. When two different guys come out of the same room when they're not roommates. As soon as they get there, they try to switch rooms every single time. You don't allow them to do that, because the minute you see them switch rooms, it's not always because that dude is cooler. It means something going down. Hey, listen, what I tell people all the time, stop changing the rules. All you do is make the crook smarter. The crook gonna figure it out. You're just making that crook smarter and smarter and smarter, right? Keep changing the locks. He gonna figure out how to pick that lock. Am I lying, Jimmy? Change the lock again. He gonna figure out how to pick that lock. Trust me on that. They know how to adapt.
So I guess what? I mean, and the questions, guys, if you have questions for our mailbag, send us an email, chopshophtx@gmail.com, chopshophtx@gmail.com. And we will try our best to read off your questions during the week in our mailbag, because this stuff really helps a lot of people in the recruiting sector.
Jim, I had a mailbag. Guess what? The mailbag, it was in my own mailbag. I wanted to just ask you and Chris, because we didn't talk about it. And I've never seen this. This probably happen all the time, but I happen to see this. I saw where they said, I got it. This message said the following prospects are currently on an unofficial visit at Texas Southern homecoming this weekend. And it was a lot of guys, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. And guess what? I love these kids. So let me give you their names. JVF Francis, Josh Farmer, Chris Marshall, Trey Banks, Elijah Hill, Brian Perry, PJ Haggerty, Patrick Punch, Ramon Walker, Sir Isaac Heron, and Chris Felix. All 11 of these guys was on an official visit. I got a question, and maybe because I don't know, is that too many guys to be on? How the coach?
Not in football. Not in football.
It's basketball.
Oh, basketball.
You didn't hear it?
Wow.
This is basketball.
They said football.
That's pretty good.
It's homecoming, though. It's homecoming. And some of them could be unofficially. Are they
all of them are unofficial.
Unofficial.
All
they
of
do
them
that
are
all the time.
unofficial.
They do that all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, they do that all the time.
But that many guys at one time?
Yeah, they can do. They split them up. It's unofficial because they're not allowed to pay for anything.
Chris, they do it a lot, but not at HBCUs of the kids of that magnitude.
I don't know, so I can't tell you.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the make. Yeah, this happens all the time, but not at an HBCU. Not kids that are not most of those kids he named are part of the cum laude of their basketball peers in their respective classes. So to get that collection of talent on campus is meaningful, and especially with a guy like Johnny Jones, who's in there, who's coached at all levels. Well, yeah, all levels of the Division I chain. He's coached at all levels. He's at HBCU now. He's coached at a mid-major. And of course, he was at the LSU. He was at Nevada for a little while. So he's been there. To get those kids on campus means a lot for that staff. That means you can't say they wasn't trying. Remember,
right.
Mike Davis was at TSU, and Mike Davis let it be known, I'm not trying to get no high school players. They're not going to be able to help me to what I'm trying to do. And he was, and his integrity was received very well from the community because you know what?
And he was very successful.
And he was successful because you know what that means? If you went somewhere and you want to transfer, I'll take you on the back end. But I'm not going to get. I need 22-year-olds and 23-year-olds to get me the pay raise that I'm seeking. And that's what, of course, Mike Davis, he's moved on to Detroit Mercy. And as a result, his son, Antoine, is being perceived as a possibility to be the one of the top shooters.
Oh, he is. There ain't no possibility. He is one of the top shooters in the country.
Well, he is already.
He broke
his freshman record last year at Detroit Mercy. So, but this thing here, Chris, that I had something else in the mailbag for you that and somebody had sent me, and it's funny, and it what it got. It said, Chris, how do you have you ever been in a situation to, let me read it, to where you had to take a scholarship from a kid because he wasn't good enough? What do you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do that.
He called me about
we gotta
one.
do that. We
Yeah.
got to do that. Listen, that's that's in the fine print that you don't see in that letter of intent of the scholarship. If you a bum, right, you got to go, period. So the bottom line, listen.
You don't say that to the kid.
Well, I'm gonna say it a different way. We say it like this here. Man, listen, man. We're gonna recruit 7 dudes at your position, man. I don't know if you're gonna be able to make it here. Man, you know what, man, coach? I don't know if coach likes you. You know what? Your family, they're unhappy when they come to the games, man. Why would you sit here and sit on the bench? You know what, man? You're better than this. If you go somewhere else, you would be a star, man. I just don't know if it would happen here. I don't know what. You plant seeds in kids' heads to let them know, you know what? You need to go somewhere else. You're not going to tell them, you're not going to sit there and say you're not good enough. Now, I've had said to kids, hey, man, you're just not good enough. You're working hard. And the ultimate thing to say is, listen, man, I know people going to look at me crazy when I say this, and I feel bad. But I'm not trying to coach anymore, so I don't really care.
Say it with your chest then.
I'm not.
Damn chest.
I'm going to say like King Kong. Here's the deal. Listen, man, I promised your mama that you were going to get a degree. I'm not going back on that. I promised Mr. Hatter that you would graduate. But there ain't no way in hell that you're going to ever check in the game as long as I'm breathing on the sideline. Now, I'm not going to take your scholarship from you, but there's no way you ever playing in a game at this university. Now, you can practice. You can get all the Nike shoes. You can hang out with all the girls. You can be in all the pictures. You can do whatever you want.
All the video.
All the like what did it say? All up in the video.
Yeah.
But there you ain't never getting on that floor. So you make a decision if you want to.
I like
and you know what
that
they
way.
do? 1,000% of the time, because I know I can't say 1,000% of the time because Hatter's gonna go find 2 people that didn't do it. Okay, I guarantee you, if that kid is worth his weight in salt, he would leave. Now, let me tell you why I wouldn't do that if I was a kid. Because I've had these situations. I said, son, think about this. You go to one of the best schools in the country. You could never afford to go here in a million years. Your parents can send you here. Billionaires can't force their way like they do at USC. They can't get into this school. You're not a pro. I don't care what anybody say. Don't you leave the school. I don't care if you have to get hurt and we have to make you medically unable to compete and we can get the scholarship back. But don't leave this education because you can't pay for this on your own and you can't get this. So kids will leave high major academic. Here's what we should be talking about, Hatter. Kids will leave high academic schools to go play at Robert Hatter State. And I'll be like, son, you're not going to the league. So you're telling me you're going to give up a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 education a year, dollar education to go over there so you can play 20 minutes and be in a one-bid league where y'all got no chance of going to the NCAA tournament just so you can tell your homeboys at the flat that you played college basketball? I don't get that. And people make that decision every single education they can never afford to pay for. Just because, and people are, man, what's wrong with him wanting to play? You're giving up an education. Hatter already said, forget Kentucky. I'm going to Cornell. That's essentially what he's saying. People give that up, Hatter, to go play at some sorry school with no educational prowess just so they can say they played. That's insane to me, man.
That's a harsh reality.
I mean, but Chris, but that's part of the, see, you're talking now from the college coach perch. But you've also been on the other perch of the summer coach in between stops twice.
Yep.
Right? And
how about this? I might be saying I'm the only coach that's coached on all three levels, Jimmy. All three levels. I coached with the hoops for a minute, so I've coached at all three summers.
So you mean 3 levels? You mean Under Armour, Adidas, and
Nike.
Nike.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And yeah, you did. That's right.
Yeah.
So here's some things. So you're telling them right now from the college coach's standpoint. Now, what I'm saying is, as the kid, as the lure in summer basketball, when you're recruiting those players in summer basketball, you're telling them, what's that noise?
My bad. Sorry about that. Keep going.
You're telling those kids that if you play for me, I have my network and I can get you where you're trying to go. Okay. So that means you're helping fulfill their fantasy and their hoop fantasy.
Okay.
So you've been there to help. You've had kids that couldn't play dead.
No, I haven't had that many.
Chris, come on now.
What I mean, that haven't graduated? I have never.
No, I'm talking about, and you made them believe they thought they were Division I talents. And then you go and you work your connection, and the network can sometimes be misperceived because that parent or that kid may not understand the favor that you, or the favor card that's been played.
Nah. You're giving me way too much credit. At the end of the day, Jimmy, you know this and I know this. At the end of the day, they got to have some talent. Dudes ain't 13 scholarships is like $13 million. You're not just giving away one of your millions. We only got 13. Yes, can I put a kid in a better position to be recruited through my relationships? Yes. But as far as offering them, giving them an actual scholarship, that's a different deal.
No. You're correct on that. What I meant was the favor can come in the form of a walk-on.
Oh yeah, but I've never done that though. I've never done that.
And a lot of people will take the term. They've added their own preferred walk-on. See, one thing about society, names always change, but the roles remain the same. So they don't want to call themselves walk-ons. Everybody want to be a preferred walk-on. Okay, be whatever you want to be, because at the end of the day, we're gonna tell when November come around, when your ass at the end of that bench and you're sitting over there and you're sitting there just with the rest of those guys, and we see it, and that's why you can't fake it no more. So my thing is, a lot of times there are walk-ons that get on in programs, and I've seen it, and I know you have to have seen it.
I've never, but
and those walk-ons think that they are
well, yeah.
scholarship players.
Dude, let me tell you something. I've seen that. But Stacy's like, well, you act like you haven't had guys in Division II. You guys know with T-Mac All-Stars and Texas Boys Athletic Club, we ain't never had no dudes in Division I. So I don't know what Stacy talking. That's some Dallas stuff. We don't do that stuff in Houston. That's some Dallas stuff. Number two, that's some Dallas
there
stuff.
Y'all go.
Number two, when it comes to preferred walk-ons, when I was a head coach at Texas Tech, I know kids that got mad at me. I said, listen, man, we get umpteen number of dollars to go recruit kids to play for our university. You are a walk-on. You ain't never getting on that floor. I don't care if you breathe fire. I don't care if you can make 3-pointers 2 at a time. That dude gonna get every chance to fail before you get any chance to succeed. Because that is the deal. When you come here, you tell a walk-on you're a practice player and a practice player only. That is all you are.
Wow.
And guess what they do? Still come. Still come. And you know what they think? They're like women that get married, that get with guys, be like, I'm going to change him. I'm going to change him. No, you ain't changed me, partner. You ain't get on that floor. So then you're the one that's convoluting the situation. It ain't the coach. The coach is like, hey, man, you never know. If every dude break his leg and 4 of the dudes tear their Achilles, you might be able to get in the game. Right, Adam? It's the people. They don't want to hear the truth. They don't tell you that part, Jimmy.
Man, that's brutal.
That part.
That's brutal, Chris Walker.
Man, whatever, man. Whatever.
That man said.
And that's, guys, once again, this is in the mailbag. We try to do our best to help, provide, and entertain.
Stop living in Disneyland. Stop hanging out with Daffy and Donald and Minnie and Mickey. Stop that.
Chris, hey, Jimmy, I forgot. So I got another one. It's a tweet. I forgot who sent it. I usually try to give him credit. It was a few days back. But he said, players, parents, coaches, please don't let these recruiting services talk you into spending 4 figures to get their help. They are top-notch salesmen and operate to make a profit on the dreams and hopes of young people.
Just Jimmy.
What do you think? What do you think about that? What you think about that comment, y'all?
Oh, Jimmy,
somebody wrote this.
Say that again now.
Okay, let me go again. Parents, okay, I forgot who told me, man. If somebody sent it to me, they said parents, players, and coaches, please don't let these recruiting services talk you into spending 4 figures to get their help. Jimmy ain't got nothing to do with that. Yeah. They are top-notch salesmen and operate to make a profit on the dreams and the hopes of young people. Yeah. I just want you, Jimmy, I ain't got nothing to do with Jimmy, because Jimmy don't charge no parent nothing.
Now, so, I don't charge, and so people that don't know,
you don't charge parent.
RCS Sports, we are not a recruiting service.
That's right.
And we are a scouting service.
Oh, okay.
And
please tell people the difference.
What's the difference?
Please tell them the difference.
The recruiting service means you're recruiting the kids to go for a fee.
Okay.
In the NCAA, when they approve, they have to approve a person in the amateur media or a person that's covering the basketball sector. You have to submit your work to the NCAA. They look over it and they approve you. And they're called. They termed it scouting service. Are you a scouting service, or do you have a video service? And so that means a recruiting service. They don't say recruiting service for the NCAA, identification purposes. So a recruiting service is something that there are people out there that will prey on the families. So when you guys go to these camps. When I have camps and people like Baller TV, now I don't know if Baller TV don't do it, but they get access, the access to your intel, to your phone numbers and your email addresses. Now what they could do with it, I don't sell the kids' information to third party individuals. I don't do it. And people that know, I've had many people that propose me and try to come and get. I don't do it. So if you ever play in any of my RCS, now the people in the media gets a packet, but what people normally do is myself, I extract the phone numbers out of the media packet. That's what a lot of people do around the country. They don't get the same packets as the college coaches get with all of the intel. And that's something that you guys, a lot of parents, you may not know how this stuff works. But once again, there are people out there, and the thing that's so sad about it, there's a great heavy market. Think about it like this: of the ongoing legal situations of the people who tried to pay with the SAT scandals. Think about that. If those people were paying like that, think about what they would pay for little bitty stuff. They paid to get their kids in college for the betterment of their kids. So I want you guys to understand this stuff. These scouting services, they know what players to go after. For example, if you're in Houston and you go to Second Baptist, you go to St. John's, you go to Episcopal, you go to Houston Christian, you go to St. Thomas, St. Pius, the Woodlands Christian. Those schools are known, those are private schools that cost 5 digits a year annually for players to attend. Well, guess what? The recruiting services know that. That means if your parent probably got that, and there are some players that are on scholarship.
Wait a minute. You didn't mention Kincaid in that group, did you?
Oh,
Kincaid, it costs more than 5 digits at Kincaid.
No.
Per year. Per year.
And that's what I said annually.
Jimmy. Hold up, Jimmy.
What happened?
Chris got tired of them plates hitting in the background, and your thing. Now you can talk now. You can talk now.
What? Oh. Y'all crazy, man.
And the Western said, who's singing them plates in the background?
I just want to provide them in.
That's some. Hey, tell Anthony Western that's that China. That's that fine China being washed. That's what it is. Since he loved China so much.
That's so awesome. Now, what were you saying, Jimmy? I'm sorry. You were talking about the fees.
I was enlightening people on the recruiting services, and a lot of people don't know any better. And the thing is, they normally prey on families that have disposable income to toss at them. That's what they normally do. I've had guys ask me about some of your kids out there. I've had guys at recruiting services ask me, hey, what did mom and dad do? And that's when once they find out, guess what? They're going to go and they're going to prey on you. And you're not thinking it because it's a way they come at you guys and with so many different selling pitches, saying they can go, they got all these coaches, they're going to set you up a web portal, and they're going to send all your stuff to the coaches. Chris Walker, in 22 years, how many of those types of services did you subscribe to while you were coaching?
Hey, what's that cartoon say, Zero's my hero?
You didn't pay none of them?
Man, please. There's no way on God's earth. For what? For what? First of all, people don't realize how many services are out there, number one. And they changed the rule where if you had a summer team, people got to understand the game. If you had a summer team, like Hatter didn't get a piece of that $100,000. If you had a summer team, you were not allowed to have a service. Back in the day, Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong, if you had a summer team, you could have a service too. That's how they circumvent the rules. So think about it. Imagine the Jimmys out there in the world having scouting services, and every AAU team having a scouting service. Imagine being a college coach in that pickle, because you're like, okay, I got to take Jimmy's stuff because he got the city, but I got to take that dude's stuff because he got the kid. People don't understand how to go. So then they flipped it where you can't do that anymore. It's still a bunch of scouting services out there. You still got a decision to make. So why would you take these other services? Think about it, man. There are tournaments out there that are set up. The way they do events now, people don't understand. When they put these super pools together, super pools, the EYBL, that stuff changed everything. Because you used to be able to go watch a kid play, and you could play against anybody. You could end up playing against LeBron because they would put the best teams in a pool with 3 bad teams, right, Jimmy? And you would play because you needed to make sure that team advanced. Yeah. Then they created super pools. So now your son don't get a chance to play against LeBron no more. He's over there at Gym 99. Those days don't exist anymore. So when people think like people are going to actually watch them play, That's why everybody flocks to certain tournaments, because all of the best players are in those areas. So they don't go to all these other tournaments. But guess what those people that are putting those servers together make you think? If 2 coaches walk through the door, if the Division II schools walk through the door, that's how they get you. Well, you can get a scholarship. No, you can't. Well, you get schools looking at you. That's true. Or we'll put a video together for you. That's true. But you're not going to Carolina, because Jimmy, as we always say, that's not the way they plan. The kid want to go to Texas. He don't want to go to Texas Women's University. I'm just being honest. So it's fraudulent. I had a parent at the sweat camp, the Southwest, what do you call it, Jimmy? Southwest Invitational Camp? Not Southwest Elite Camp. This dude told me, I couldn't believe it. I spoke at the event. He says, man, I paid, what did he say, Jimmy? $1,800 for my kid. I said, you pay $1,800 for what? Because they said they can help my child. I said, man, are you serious? He said, yeah, man, I didn't know what to do. I just wanted to help my child. How about get a book? How about get some information? What you mean?
This is crazy, man.
Them dudes are making money like you wouldn't believe. The same way those dudes are doing those college fraud stuff, making money, having people take SAT. This is what drives me crazy. And I'm going to go off on the side, a little tirade for a second. A little tirade. They get mad at college coaches, Hatter, and AAU guys, I'm sorry, these bad actors or third-party people, for having people take tests for people. And they're letting these people got money and privilege take tests for their kids to get in college, and they get 1 day in jail, 1 week in jail, happening at USC, swim coach at Texas. All this stuff is going on. Do you hear about it anymore? But let a college coach do something, let an AAU coach do something. We got to put a bill together to make sure they get paid. Man, y'all got to be kidding me. People don't understand that message yesterday. I encourage everybody to go back and listen to that show yesterday. Because at the end of the day, our kids are being affected more than people believe. And any person of color that sits back and says, oh, they shouldn't get paid, shame on you. Because if it was your child, he was an elite kid, you wouldn't be thinking that way. All that lets me know is your child ain't never been elite, and you ain't never been an elite parent, because you don't have a clue. Because all that money you put into him becoming elite, think about it, Jimmy. People don't think about that. All that money you put into him. Same way I tell a college coach, I know you don't want to pay for that kid, but do you know how much money that dude invested in that kid right there? Do you know how much money that dude been taking care of that kid since he was 5 years old? He 18 now. So if you give him $5,000, guess what? You ain't getting him back into the black. He's still in the red. Oh, calm down, player. Calm down. Let them dudes make some money, man.
Jimmy, check what's going to pop up on that screen in a second, Jimbo.
The Bronx Bombers.
Hey, let me tell you something. As a wise man told me that. Said, Robert, man, boy, these folks didn't put a lot of money in these little old kids.
And that's a topic that we are going to dive into.
They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that, Jimmy.
We're going to go there.
They don't want to hear that. So we're going to go in Hatter's head, too. Because Hatter don't want to go, because Hatter know a little bit about that.
Investments that are made.
$100,000.
It's all good, baby.
Yeah. And when people are coming to collect on their investments, some of the things that your sons can be persuaded to do is one of the topics for tomorrow. I'm telling you.
Good one for Hatter. Good one for Hatter with the agent stuff too. Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? And
got some good stories.
I wish like hell we can get Derek Griffin on here to do it.
No. We need Hatter to actually we need to do, Jimmy. We need Hatter to have a real honesty chop shop day and tell us a couple of stories. Because some of the stories that Hatter has told me, it's almost like Disneyland. You can't believe that people, particularly our people, act like that.
Chris, Chris, a lot of that stuff in my book. Hey, in the words of Brandon Johnson, a lot of this stuff gonna be in my book. I can't give it to you over here like this for free.
Just give us a couple. Just give us a couple, because I'm telling you, some of the stories you tell
are
unbelievable.
We'll wait till tomorrow. We'll wait.
Guess what?
It's time to go. Oh, it's Astros time.
No.
Yeah, it is.
The Bronx Bombers.
Hey. Go.
Guess what? Tell we do. Me and Chris got a bet. Whoever loses this game.
I said advance. I didn't say nothing about this game. I said advance.
We got that bet. I want to up the ante for tomorrow, because I want to see how you gonna act during tomorrow's show after losing this bet, and I want to see. Here's the thing. Tomorrow, the loser at the top of the show got to get a bottle of water and swig it non-stop.
That ain't
nothing.
nothing.
That's easy. That ain't nothing. What's in it?
Here's the
It's
thing.
got to be something in it.
Hold on.
Y'all got to take a shot.
Hold on. And if you get up to go pee during the show, you got to drink a shot.
Oh, well, I can do that one. That's easy. We got to do. Now, I'm gonna let you think on that, and we're gonna put it on the Chop Shop thread what they actually got to do.
World.
How about that?
Guys, it's that time. Of course,
Hey,
we're going to talk the Astros and the Yankees. Game 3 will be at 3 p.m., about 3:07 Central Time. First pitch. And, of course, Garrett Cole is on the mound. It's going to be a great day. Sloppy, rainy conditions in New York. So expect a lot of ground balls to be hit today. That way, you know, it enhances some of the guys.
They gonna tear his head off today. They gonna beat the snot out the Astros.
They lost a game since May. How about Dude has not lost a game since May.
I can't wait. Hey,
dude,
y'all.
it's damn near November. Do you realize it's damn near November? He ain't lost a game since May.
Not tonight.
So
No. Hold up, Jimmy. Tyrone got it. The loser poured a bottle of water over their head on the Chop Shop, like they do the Gatorade thing. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The loser poured the water over his head.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Take your hat off.
Yeah.
Take your hat off. And
Hey,
let's go and celebrate.
And get away from your nice. Hold up. Get away from your nice chair too. Don't use your nice office chair.
I'll take that bet. Even though Jimmy has got the edge because Garrett Cole is pitching. But you all playing in the greatest city in the world. So we will see. I might even go to the game tonight. How about that?
Who pitching for you, Chris? Who pitching for you, Chris?
It don't even matter.
Hold up.
I know who hitting. I know who hitting.
Hey, y'all see that bag Jimmy got? Y'all know he ain't paid for that bag.
Hey.
That bag costs $100. You know it's cheap, but they ain't paid for that bag.
Them the kind of bags Jimmy used to give out back in the day when he was a summer coach. But peanuts wasn't in them.
He didn't refill that thing, man.
Guess what? Guess what? This bag costs $2 for a field bag. Guess what? There's a local grocery store chain that advertises all with the Texans and the Astros that has these bags right near the produce section. You will find you a bag in every one of their grocery stores. So I'm not gonna give them the advertising.
And I guarantee you they make cowboy nuts too. I guarantee they got cowboys. I guarantee you.
Did y'all hear what he said?
I guarantee you they got.
Did y'all hear what this man? That man said cowboy nuts. That man said cowboy nuts. Cowboy peanuts, Chris.
Hey, man, it's time to take it home, boss.
Yeah, let's go.
We got to get up out of here, guys. Thanks so much for tuning to Chop Shop. We want you guys to share the show before you get up out of here. Thanks for Tyrone for putting that bet in there, because that's what it's going to be. Somebody get wet tomorrow. Somebody going to get wet tomorrow. No umbrellas. Hey, you ain't in Hong Kong, Chris. No umbrellas.
Oh, wow. That's wrong.
On behalf of the hater, the hatter, and guess what? The hat. I can't flip this one up, but this is my rally cap. Put it on right now.
Jim Hicks.
Chop, chop. Go ahead.
Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Rich.